And I wanted to jump into this first by telling my story because I don't know how many people here that watch this know me, but my story is I was born in Newark, New Jersey, in a place called Lafayette Projects, to the best of my knowledge. You can call the parents, ask them if I'm correct on this, but I was born in Lafayette Projects in Newark, New Jersey. And when I was 18, and I got out of there when I was 3, thank God, from what I saw. So thank my mother, she got up out of there. But from what I saw, I went back when I was to be wanting to be raised at. And so from Lafayette Projects, I moved to Rochester, New York, and grew up there essentially for the next 30 years. And New York was better. Rochester, New York was better. But it was still the city, if you know what I mean. It was still great people, good personalities, most of them, but lacking in development and resources would be the best way to put it. And so while I was there, I enjoyed myself. You know, I grew up there. Those were my people. I was their people. You know, like minds, birds of a feather, all that good stuff. And then I left. And let me bounce back a little bit. Before I left, my then wife, we were going through some rough times. Now, I was a hard worker. Always had a good-ish job, maybe even 2 at a time. Very hard worker. Resources were scarce, though. You know, it's the city. So you're not making a lot, but a lot is required of you. And one of the big defining moments of my life was the day my ex broke up with me. And this is the interesting. So, what I thought at the time, I was going to take her out on a date, which turned out to be our last date. We didn't even get there. But as I thought earlier today, as a matter of fact, about the circumstances surrounding that, here I am, a just about 30-year-old male, and bringing in money and stuff, and we had lived in a joint household. We had like another couple there with us and stuff. Maybe even no, at that time it was just one other couple. So, and it's funny because I was thinking about how she must have felt. Like having me as a husband. We had 2 kids at the time. We still had 2 kids, but we had 2 kids, 2 babies. Probably stressed out. At the time, I did not have a car. So I was going to take her out on this date after a hard time and stuff on the bus. So she has this guy, just about midlife, like 30-ish, still catching the bus, and she has like, I'm assuming like everybody does have these grand ambitions in life and stuff and want a certain lifestyle and stuff like that. And I do not blame her for breaking up with me because I was totally less than. And at the time probably had no thought process of being more, because you are who you hang around and, your environment plays a big role. So I would have probably kept doing what I was doing, like inertia, until I acted upon by an outside force, which is her breaking up with me. Blatantly saying, listen, I need more. And I don't blame her. So I moved to Florida, and I experienced a different lifestyle, different surroundings, different people, different job opportunities, different stories, people telling their story and stuff. Different videos I watched. I developed becoming a different person in the next few years. And through that, I developed a fortitude for wanting to be more. And now that I'm older, I'm thinking more along the lines of legacy. Now, everybody knows somebody who is memorable, be it an actor, governor, president. Nobody's going to forget President Trump's name. Like names that would last throughout history. And I was thinking, what does that mean? Like, how do you develop a name, a legacy that lasts in history? Like, how do you get in the history books or even have the next generation or two remember you? And it boiled down to service. Weird, right? So, in order for people to remember you, you have to affect them in some kind of way. Either you got to help them, it has to be a positive memory, or you have to hurt them, it has to be a negative memory. You think of someone like, I don't know, we'll use negative, Hitler. Name resounds throughout history. Everybody's going to remember Hitler or Bin Laden or something like that because it impacted you in a certain kind of way. Names in the history book. Same way in the positive realm. You got President Kennedy. Like you won't forget that. You or the next 5, 10 generations. And the reason being is because they served the people who looked up to them, but they affected everybody. And it got me thinking, how can I serve more people? Because that's really what we're on here to do, to serve one another. And in doing so, you end up having more because you serve more. You look at people like Elon Musk, positive side of that. He served everybody by inventing all type of stuff. If you look at Amazon, he served people by connecting commerce and people together. You can get your stuff at your doorstep for the minimal price. Like very, very powerful service. The internet, like here we are. We make more money by serving more people. So it got me thinking about the concept of be, do, have. I've watched a very good speaker, Myron Golden, talk on this subject, and it's very powerful, very, very powerful. I will link one of the videos to this one. I advise everybody to go watch it. So I won't do it as good as justice, but for the purposes of this video, here we go. So people, everybody, focuses on the having. You want more, you want a better life, you want to go on vacations, you want. And for good reason. We're designed to want. In order to get what we want, in order to have, we have to do. So if you want something, you have to do something to get it. Hopefully it's something good. So let's look it up. Let's look at it. So I gotta get like a taller tripod here. So we got be, do, have. And you can have it the other way too. We're just going to separate those. Now, in order to have, we're just going to put a smiley face there because that tends to be our thing, right? You want something, that's a positive thing. So in order to get what you want, you have to do an action. And that's productivity. That's service. That's doing something positive. Do something negative and do it too, but you won't have a positive outcome. So you won't end up having what you want. So it's going to have to be something positive. Now, hopefully, the desire you have, that's another word that you could put here, desire. The desire you have will push you to want to do something. It'll activate your, productivity so you can get what you want. The problem is when you start doing something, anything, and the more important it is, the more this is true. The minute you start doing something of any positive nature, you immediately hit resistance. Something bad is going to happen. Not necessarily bad, but you're going to hit a wall because it's not what you're used to doing. So you're not going to be good at it right off the muscle. You're also not going to have the desired results because the thing you have is for somebody who you have not become yet. So let's say you're watching some TikTok video and there's this influencer on there who's driving some wild car or motorcycle and looks really cool and you want that. Okay? So you start thinking to yourself, man, I'm going to start creating content. I'm going to do what he's doing so I can have what he has. Okay? Desire moves into action. All right? So you start trying to find things that you can do, videos that you can make. And you're like, all right, you're trying to like scramble to find topics and stuff, maybe something that you can relate to or something. And you make a video, you make 5. You're not really getting no traction. You might have 2, 3 likes or something. Nobody's really watching you. The algorithm's not pushing you, whatever it is. That's the wall. Okay? So you go into action, you hit a wall. You can't have what you see that person have because, one, you haven't done nearly enough yet because they've been doing it for a very long time. You just haven't seen it. And so they've passed through this wall, which is what you're going to have to do. Now, here's the important part. Once you do that, because it will happen, and I'm sure everybody here can relate, as soon as you want to do something, so kind of like as soon as you go to like try to start walking for the first time, you fall. There's the wall. You try to do math in school for the first time, you can't get it, the wall. You try to get a job, nobody's hiring you, the wall. Eventually, somebody will. You have to push through the wall. It is the law of physics. Immediately when you go to do something, you hit a wall first. It's not until after you break through the wall that you start getting traction. So be consistent no matter what, because you will get there. You just have to know that that's the next step. Activity, wall, prosperity. That goes higher and higher. You won't immediately be prosperous, but you'll get past the wall and you'll get on to where you're getting to. Now, once you do that, in order to be, you have to be, we're going to give him a double smiley. That's a terrible picture, but you get the point. In order to have, you have to do. Once you do, you become. Because if you look at it, say, we'll use the same influencer. You want the car he's driving, you start making videos and stuff. Now that you're making videos, people are watching you. In their mind, you are the person. You became the person that does the thing that gets to have the thing for the next person. You got it? So, in order to have, you have to be. And in order to be, you have to actually do. So, we'll take it personally for a minute. Me, I wish to serve more people in the line in which I feel that I'm good at, which is slightly personal development, because I know in order to get what you don't have, you have to become who you're not yet. All right? So, if you want to start a small business or something, we'll just use something that is real small, like car detailing, landscaping, power washing, something that you can do on your own or with like 1 or 2 other people. You're going to need a little bit of capital. usually the start that hurts people the most, that you can't like excel, because usually how it works is life costs a little bit more than you make, because we live a little bit above our means for the most part. So some people will tell you to live below your means. That's hard because we're all habit formed. So we want our morning coffee, our rent has not changed. Like, it's hard to live below your means when you've already set the bar. So I think that you just need a little extra. You need more than you currently have so you can start comfortably onto what you want to do next. And that's where I like to fall in at DIY. I try to get you more income coming in so then you can then use that income to start what you want to start. That way there's no uncomfortable, I gotta be poor, you know, because that comes with its own things. Like, how are you gonna tell your wife, hey, we're gonna have to cut back on like $300 a month on stuff so I can try to develop this thing, in about 6 months. I need like $1,000. Like, it's hard, and it's probably not gonna happen, which means you're gonna be stuck where you're at. So I use different strategies to get you more income without like having a second job or anything like that, and better your credit score and all those things to prepare you for your transition into whatever it is that you're going to endeavor to do, whoever you're going to be. So I feel that we all deserve and desire to have nice things, and we should. We're all God's children. There's no reason why we shouldn't all prosper. There's plenty enough for everybody with extra. And we just need to focus on, we already have to have the desire down. So we have to focus more on the doing. And I think that is the primary focus in life, action. Because the being will take care of itself. Once you go into action, once you start doing the thing that you want to do, then once you do it enough, you have now become the person who does that. And I'd like to encourage everybody in that. So the transformation will look like this. And the current teaching right now, the current help that's being offered, the easiest form will be, we'll say you want to start a power washing business. All right? Power washer. Power washers make somewhere around 3,000 a week, something like that. Just doing driveways, houses, real easy things. Maybe you get a car wash deal or something like that. Car wash deal, gas station deal or something like that. But considerably more than you're making. Now, that's not all profit. Of course, you got to pay taxes, what have you. But it's your business. You'll be making more. But the important thing is, if that's the business you want to open up, that's the thing you want. I strongly advise everybody try to do what they desire to do, because there's no point living life hating what you do for your entire life. And honestly, if you're just like a low paid employee, at the end of doing a life that you don't want, then you have hardship and health problems. So it sounds like a terrible life from birth to the end. Not advisable, especially if it's your choice. Okay? So we're just going to use the power washer. So in order to start a power washing business, and please insert whatever business you want, use the numbers, mess with them, you're going to need some startup. So, startup money. I would probably say, just to start, you could either, hear me out, rent what you want for the time that you want it, set up the contracts, set up the 1, the 5, the however many, line them up, and then go to the rental spot like Home Depot, something like that, that'll rent you a power washer, either the hand one or the scrubbing one. If it's like a driveway, they have the washers that looks like a floor scrubber and it really works well. That will cost you about $80 for the day. Okay? Now, you're going to make 300 or so off of that. So we'll say your profit margin would be 220. That was 8. 220 profit off of that one job that took you an hour or two maybe to do a driveway and the walkway and probably the sidewalk just to make it look real nice and uniform for the whole front of the house. Took you about 2 hours. So you're making $125 an hour profit. Okay? After you paid for the power washer. And probably more depending on where you're going, but we'll just use small numbers so it's more feasible. And now say you got like 3 of those for the day. So you got times 3, you got 660. And if now you're still using the same power washer for that day, that's still the same $80. So that's $660 profit for the day. That's better than what you're currently doing, probably. But the key is, do you enjoy it? Okay? The other thing is to buy it. Okay? So you got startup, money. I like saying it like that. I might keep saying it like that. To buy a power washer, you'll probably need, we'll just start real nice. We'll say you need $300. We'll say 500 because you need like cleaning supplies and stuff like that. So you need $500 and you own it. No more rentals. That means, let's see, at $80 a day in a week, that would have paid for itself from you not having to rent it. So $500 get you a nice power washer, some soap and stuff, some rags. I don't know what you need. So how do you get the $500? Okay, this is where I come in. If you into that, but you say, Luke, how do I get $500? And I'll say my favorite strategy is using bank promotions. Use other people's money, other opportunities. Okay, so who's giving me $500? You know, the bank will. So what you need is a strategy to get the money. And I say, if you have a job offering direct deposit, use a bank promotion. Get the money for yourself by somebody who's offering it to you. So bank promo. This is where the bank will give you a cash bonus just for being a customer. So we'll use, you need $500. Chase Bank is offering $350 right now. Just to be a customer, just to say, hey, I will send my money direct deposit to you, let you be my bank. You know, just regular old checking account, debit card, you know. And I believe there's a 60 days. In a couple weeks, you're going to give me $350. That sounds great. We're almost there. You know, you just need $150 more. So what do? Well, you stack it. Who's to say you only have to have one bank? Truist, and I know this because I just ended my tenure with Truist. I was paying $400 to be a customer for, I believe, 60 days. So now you do them both. How do you do them both, Malik? It's quite simple. You go to both banks. You don't even got to go to the banks. You can go online. Go online, fill out the form. You're a customer. You have an account and routing number now. And I don't know how your job works, but my regular job, we're able to take care of this ourselves, like switch our direct deposit, for HR and everything. But if not, you take your direct deposit forms the same way you did the first time whenever you got paid and say, hey, employer, we'll put them down there because you currently have a job or you wouldn't be surviving right now. Say, hey, employer, please forward my money to both of these accounts. Okay? You have two account numbers, two routing numbers. You tell them to split your pay between both accounts. Now you have two debit cards. None of your money is lost. You just have two cards to use instead of one that you currently have. You don't have to quit your current bank. You just add. We're all about building, adding more and more and more. But now you have 750. You done made $250 more than you need. So we're up 250 in a matter of like 60 days. That required you to do no work. You didn't have to sell anything. You didn't have to build a team. You didn't have to do some crap. You just went to work like normal and took advantage of the opportunities that are already being given. So now you have your startup money. Okay? Now we're at the next step. All right? So we have 750 ready to make moves. Didn't require us to do nothing. But now we have no excuses. Now we can start that business we wanted. So we go buy the thing, 500, maybe some ads, some flyers or something, about $50, buy some flyers from Vistaprint or something that haven't passed out. Honestly, I'd leave it there. I'd just keep the rest of the money. Keep yourself $200. You deserve it. Maybe treat yourself, you and the wife or something, and then start business. And it's that simple. How much can you make, you said? So we use the one example where you're going to charge them, what was it, 300, and you've already owned all the stuff, so now you made 300. I think taxes are maybe like 10%. So 10% of that is $30 for taxes. So you made $270 per if you're only charging $300, which honestly that's pretty cheap. But let's look at another one. Let's say you want something simple. You want to be an influencer. And you need some money. You can do the same thing. Honestly, you do the bank promotions to do that. Or, let's not use influencer. Let's just use, you want to do some other business. All right? Something like brick and mortar or something like that. Any of these, you can use bank promotions to do. It doesn't look right, but so say you have bad credit. And you're like, hey, Malik, how can I do the thing? Will nobody lend me any money? Okay, your bank promotion's cool. I'm going to do that anyway because it's free money. And I'd be a fool not to take advantage of it now that I have the awareness of it. But I have bad credit. What can I do? For free, without paying off credit. It would be advisable for you to pay some of it off. But what are the strategies that I could use to get my credit better? And I'd say something like, 1, use credit as it was intended. It was not intended, well, it was for people, they knew people would abuse it, but credit is not intended for you not to pay off the balance. You only pay the minimum balance whenever you're looking to give away money. You're only supposed to use it as you need it and pay it off before they start hitting you with interest as a consumer. Business line's a little bit different, but that's how it works as a consumer. You got a credit card, but they know you want to pay the minimum, and that's how they make their money. But how it's supposed to work is, in order to build your credit, which is what we're talking about here, use your credit card as a payment source that instead of using your debit card. Okay, so you link them up. Like you make payments to your credit card from your bank account, but you make all your purchases from your credit card. Okay, use your credit card like it's your debit card, and then right after you use your credit card, I would advise the same day, but before the end of the month, use your debit card to pay off your credit card. Even if you still need the money, because after you pay it off, now your credit's good, and now you can use your credit card again. Okay? So only use your credit card as if it was your debit card and you have the money on hand. Otherwise, you're paying double and triple for whatever it is that you're buying using the monthly payments that they're charging you 30% on. All right, so that's one way you have bad credit. Immediately, if you can't get a credit card, okay, they have something called a secured credit card. It's a little more than a savings account that you have a credit card for. Because a secured credit card means you give them money, we'll call it $500 in cash, and now you have a $500 limit credit card. See how the securities, they have your money already. So you can't go past how much money you already gave them. So it's literally just a savings account that they're letting you use credit on. Okay? Because if you don't pay them back, they're just going to keep your 500. All right? So if they won't give you a credit card outright, everybody can get a secured credit card, and which you can also use the bank promotions to get the money to give the other bank to get the secured credit card. See how that works? Nothing comes off of you. You just do what you're normally doing, and you're utilizing the opportunities around you to get what you need. So now you have the secured credit card, and now you're swiping, paying. Same day, hopefully, at least the same week, but certainly by the end of the month. Hopefully by the end of the week. Definitely by the end of the month. Because if you don't pay, now, one, you're losing money, and two, your credit gets worse. Your credit doesn't really get better making the payments. It gets better a little because it shows that you're not falling behind. But it gets better faster if you pay it immediately. It says he paid all of it. All of it. We got all of our money back. I want you to think of yourself as a creditor, and you let your friend hold $500. Okay? Now, the terms of a credit card simply state, I will pay you back by the end of the month, or I'll pay you extra. So, if your friend borrowed $500 from you and paid you back before he said he was before the end of the time limit, like he paid you back on the 29th of the month instead of the 30th, before the 30 days was up, the next time he wants money, you're more likely to give it to him. Now, if he paid you back, say, 5 days after, okay, he paid you back. You don't feel bad about it. You maybe even made a little money off of him if you set it up like creditors do. You probably didn't, but so it's more like, hey, you said you were gonna pay me back, you didn't, so the next time he wants some money, you're like, but since they're out to make money and they're not worried about your couple bucks, they're more than happy to let you stretch it out. But you're supposed to pay it back by the end of the month. And that makes your credit build faster because it says he paid it back, he did what he said he was going to do, he's worthy of the credit. If you do that enough times, you now have good credit. And you got good credit from the money that you got from the opportunities that you took advantage of, not even the money that came out of your own pocket. I hope that's making sense. I hope that's getting you to where you need to get. So, be, do, have. I recommend that you choose something that you would like to be. Doesn't matter what it is. We all have an inkling in us that we want to do the thing. Maybe you want to be a hair designer. And let me tell you, when you're really good at something, you don't have to worry about the competition because people are going to come to you because you're the expert. Okay? You won't get everybody because everybody has to eat, but you will get the most the better you are. You notice that the top of anybody isn't worried about where the money's coming from because it comes with your skill level that you're at. Okay? So, whatever it is you want, work toward being that thing. And remember, as soon as you do it, if you're not already in there, as soon as you do it, you're going to hit the wall. You're going to, fuck, it's not working. Keep going. Because if it's not working for you, that means it's currently working on you. Because you have to become who it is that does that thing in order to get the results from that thing. I hope this has been helpful. I really enjoyed it. I feel like there was information there. I feel like there was a connection there. And I want to encourage you guys, you can do it. If you're interested in the services, if you want to find out about bank promotions, how to use them, the information is free. If you'd like the extra trackers and all that, and the like community and the back and forth with me on how to do it, and like pretty much guiding you through, that is a price. It's only $49.99 one time, and you get it. You only use it for maybe a month until you like get your first promotion, and then you're like, oh, okay, I got it now. So let's look at that real quick, just because we have a second. So for $49.99, we'll call it $50 because we're civilized humans. You pay $50. Certain everybody has it. I spent that at for wings last night. So for the price of some wings, it was like 42 because I had water instead of pop. But if I had pop, it would have been 50. So for the price of lunch, you get the information on where to find these bank promotions. You get the how much are you making off of them. You get the when to expect it. And you get community, where you get to hear other people's success stories and other people that got the promotions and what they're doing with it, which is the most important part. It gives you a sense of empowerment. You can do what it is you want with free money. Now, I don't know of it. I do know of some that are some promotions that are only worth like $50. I don't dabble in them. I only go for like 300 and above, and there's like several of those. So, off of your very first, what was I going to say? You're going to make 300. If you don't make more than 50, because I don't know, maybe you went for a dumb promotion or something, and you just wanted to see. If you don't make more than $50, if you don't make 50 or more, I wouldn't even go for this, but if you only made $50, I'd give you your $50 back, and which makes the whole thing free. So we're gonna put a big old G for guarantee, because there would be no reason at all I would take such a low promotion, and I wouldn't even advise you to. So you're guaranteed to make quadruple your money. Like, what you're paying for is the awareness. And the only reason, like I said, the information is out there. You can Google bank promotions and you'll see. In fact, I advise you to, after you watch this, go on there, Google bank promotions near me or something like that and see what's around you. But the community, the information, the hand holding from someone who's done it several times, and the strategy of stacking them. Because like I said, in order to make that 750, you had 2 accounts. Okay? But what if you can do that repetitively, year round? Stack. How much are you getting? How much free money that you had to do nothing for are you making? And more importantly, what then will you do with that money? And it only costs you $50. I'd say it's a win-win, honestly. And like I said, I give it away for free. However, if you want like all the extra stuff, that stuff costs money because it costs money to produce it. But the value isn't even really in the knowing of the information. It's in the transformation. Who you will become because of the information that you now have. Because you can do this every year, all year. It becomes a second income stream. And it requires nothing of you but to accept the deals. And the deals are simple. Become a customer. That's it. That's the whole deal. Let us be your bank. Here's some money. But it's hard to start without a commitment. Kind of like those deals you see that's like for 99 cents, like because people don't value things that are free. Like no matter what course you go to, you're almost paying somebody to tell you information that you already know. I already gave you information. If you accept bank deals, you'll make this money. But you won't actually do it unless you have something to lose, unless you have some type of skin in the game, and that's where the $50 come in. If you spend $50, you will try it because you spent $50 on this. So, gosh darn, you're going to give it a try. And then you're going to get the results. And after you get the results, you're going to be like, oh, it works. It was so easy. I literally did nothing. Let me do it again. Because that's human nature. Once you do it, and then you do it again, now you have a bit of a habit. You're addicted to the free money. But now, the fear is gone. You've broken through that do barrier. Because that's what it is. I'll do it. It sounds like a good idea. I'll do it. Bam. Because it's not in your habit. You're not actually going to do it. So you can't come out on the other side with the money. But if you invest in it, then you'll try it. And once you try it, you'll get the results. And once you get the results, you'll keep doing it. And then the possibilities open up. You actually start that power wash business, that car detailing business. You actually go take those vacations because you have free money. You actually can have groceries or bill paying. It doesn't even have to be something lavish. Maybe you just need an extra $1,000. Maybe, like I do, wife's birthday's coming up. Wives are expensive. You need a few $100s at least. That's just the hotel stay of whatever you're going to go do. So you need like 1,000. You need 500. You need something. And it's hard to have it when you spend all the money that you already have. So what are you going to do? You need more money from another source. Hopefully not another full-time job. And that's where this comes in. So I hope this was helpful. I enjoyed making this. I hope you enjoyed hearing it. Hope it was beneficial for you. And I hope you join me on the next one. Thank you for talking with Malik, DIY. Talk to you later.